should be self-evident.
All men are created equal. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All of these phrases come from one monumental document, the Declaration of Independence. Hi, I'm Reese Witherspoon. As Americans, we hear these phrases often. But when was the last time we stopped to really think about them? Not just as words, but as ideas that make up the freedoms that you and I enjoy every day. The Declaration is our nation's birth certificate, and though it's over 200 years old, it is as relevant today as the day it was written. In order to fully understand its significance, we must travel back in time. The year was 1776. There were horses instead of cars, quills instead of computers, 13 individual colonies instead of 50 United States, and a British king instead of a president. The American people were furious with King George III, who for nearly a decade had been imposing unfair taxes and taking away the colonists' freedoms one by one. On the lips of many were the words independence and rebellion. In June of that year, elected officials from each of the 13 colonies met in a tiny, sweltering room of the Philadelphia State House. There, a young, brash Virginian named Thomas Jefferson was assigned the task of writing an official Declaration of Independence from Britain. In just 17 days, Jefferson penned his first draft. Fellow Congressmen John Adams and Benjamin Franklin made few changes, and after intense debate amongst the others in the Assembly, all agreed upon a draft on July 4th, 1776. By ratifying this document, our forefathers were performing an act of treason, one that could cost them their lives, or earn them their freedom. To win the war for independence, they had to rally the troops, farmers, lawyers, and homeowners, to take up arms and fight. Their public relations campaign began that very night as they ran the Declaration to a nearby printing shop. There, John Dunlap printed some 200 poster-sized typeface copies, now known as the Dunlap Broadsides. These broadsides were immediately reprinted in local newspapers, posted on trees, and rushed to waiting horsemen who galloped through the colonies, stopping in town squares and church halls to read the Declaration aloud. It was a rallying cry, a call to action, and colonists of all ages answered that call. On July 9th, future President General George Washington ordered that his Dunlap broadside be read to the people of New York City. The crowd of soldiers, sailors, and patriotic citizens were so fired up that they ripped down a public statue of King George, then melted it into 42,000 lead bullets to fire at the King's army. Today, 25 original Dunlap broadsides remain, but only one is touring the nation. In 1989, an unsuspecting bargain hunter bought a painting at a flea market for $4 because he admired the frame. While inspecting a tear in the back of the painting, the man noticed a folded sheet of paper sandwiched between the canvas and the frame. He had no idea that what he was holding was an original Dunlap broadside. The document was eventually authenticated, and in June of 2000, after 2 previous purchases, it was bought at auction by producer Norman Lear and his wife Lynn. Their vision of the people's document traveling across America, spreading the message of human rights, democracy, and freedom, led to the founding of the Declaration of Independence road trip. It may seem like just an old piece of paper, but take a closer look and you'll see some pretty cool things. First, this declaration is typed, not handwritten, and is without signatures. Believe it or not, this copy of the Declaration is actually older than the signed calligraphy one that resides in the National Archives in Washington, D.C. See, most people think the Declaration was signed on July 4th, 1776, but that's the day it was sent to the printer. The signing didn't begin until August 2nd, and actually took several months. Among the signers were John Hancock, Samuel Adams, and one of my own ancestors, John Witherspoon. You'll also see that some of the S's look like F's. Look at the spelling of the word self-evident. No, those aren't typos. In the 1700s, people used 3 different letter forms for S, depending on its pronunciation. But what does the Declaration actually say? Let's compare it to the document a lawyer might write when arguing his case. First, there are the opening remarks, where the concept of one group of people separating from another is introduced. Next is the most famous section of the document, in which Jefferson spells out the indisputable rights that each of us as human beings is entitled to. Then, our forefathers present the facts, a long list of complaints, detailing the many ways in which King George has violated the colonists' indisputable rights. Finally, the closing remarks, which boldly proclaim, for the reasons described above, we are breaking off from Britain and forming the United States of America. America, a country in which we enjoy unparalleled freedoms every single day. The freedom to think and say whatever we believe, the freedom to practice any religion we want, and the freedom to vote on the very laws we wish to live by. That's pretty amazing. America was designed to give each of its citizens the right to make a difference and foster change. Throughout our country's history, countless Americans have taken advantage of these opportunities. They've lobbied, protested, boycotted, and even rewritten our nation's laws. Look at Abraham Lincoln, Susan B. Anthony, Martin Luther King Jr., Eleanor Roosevelt, Muhammad Ali, Cesar Chavez, and Thurgood Marshall. Who else can you think of? Were these people born extraordinary individuals, or were they ordinary people who did something extraordinary? Inspired by the ideals set forth in the Declaration of Independence, they did something about the things they believed in. And today, all across America, the Declaration is still motivating people to take action. People like Candace Lightner, a mother whose 13-year-old daughter was killed in 1980 by a drunk driver. So Candace formed the organization MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Thanks in part to the efforts of MAD and the laws it has helped pass, drinking and driving fatalities dropped 43% from 1980 to 2000. 19-year-old Christopher Portman was sick and tired of hearing how apathetic his generation was. Though he was barely old enough to vote, Christopher ran for mayor of Mercer, Pennsylvania, and won. High school junior Jerrica McCrary followed in the footsteps of Rosa Parks and the Little Rock Nine when she helped organize the first integrated prom in Taylor County, Georgia. And this wasn't way back in the 60s, it was in the spring of 2002. Christopher Evans heads up the Surfrider Foundation, an organization dedicated to keeping our beaches environmentally safe for sea life and surfers alike. And Malia Lazu runs Mass Vote, a group dedicated to helping people register to vote. Malia organized a basketball tournament for which players and spectators had to register to vote in order to participate. Since 1999, Mass Vote has given over 5,000 people the power to vote. All of these people have made time to do something about the things they care about. What do you care about? I'm sure there's something you think would make your community, our country, better. Why not work to change it? It starts with reading the newspaper and being informed. It means talking to other people, writing a letter to a government official, or joining a group that has a similar goal. At the very least, it means voting. Voting is the easiest and loudest way for your voice to be heard. In a country of roughly 280 million people, it seems like one vote might not mean that much. But look at the 2000 presidential election. The entire decision came down to just 537 votes. Indeed, every vote counts. People find all kinds of excuses for not voting. I'm too busy. I don't trust politicians. I don't know where to go to vote. But if you don't vote, you're letting somebody else make the laws that may affect not just your life, but generations of Americans to come. So why not vote? Why not get involved? Why not take pride in our great country and strive together to make it even greater? When you look at the Declaration of Independence, see it not only as a piece of history, but as a challenge for the future. The People's Document, our country's birth certificate, is a call to action today, as much as it was in 1776. How will it inspire you?